Inna a'tainaka alkawthar. We've given you the greatest, the most abundant good.
When you end up divorcing someone, there are doors that open up for ibadah and worship that were never opened before. Such as speaking good about your ex. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's a big one. You have to go out of your way to engage in an ibadah known as saying good about someone behind their backs. Someone asks you, what happened? The correct answer is, look, mashallah, good person. I hope I was a good person as well. We didn't get along. You know, it's a respectful answer. It might not be exactly as I said, but respectful. And if someone is keen on getting married to your ex and they want to know the details, if they were serious issues that need to be mentioned privately to a person, because we're not allowed to lie when someone is about to enter into marriage with someone else. You need to know, are they asking you genuinely because they would like to know? Because half of them, they just ask you, but they've already made their minds up, you know. If that's the case, say, look, you know what? Didn't get along with me, perhaps get along with you. Wallahi, it happened at the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum many times when some of them would say to the others, why don't you marry such and such a woman? She was married to me, didn't get along with me, but I'm sure she was a very good person, she'll get along with you. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And then we claim to be good Muslims. Wow, mashallah. We think it's all about, it's just salah. After salah, I don't care how I speak to someone, how. I've seen people who are outwardly extremely pious, extremely. And I think to myself sometimes that, you know what? All that reward is going to someone else because you're busy backbiting. You know, I received a message a few moments ago from a friend of mine in Nigeria. And I'm going to say this because perhaps they can benefit, we can all benefit. And the idea of the message was perhaps good in the sense that they wanted to say, look, as Muslims in our weddings, we should try and have a bit of modesty, and you know, we should behave in a more respectful way, etc. Up to that point, I agree. I would say that right now, that as Muslims we should be, right? We all would agree. You know, the day you're sowing the seed of your entire future, why do you want to make it the displeasure of Allah? That's the most powerful way of looking at it. I'm about to sow the seed for the rest of my life, the taqdeer and the predestiny, everything is coming into effect today. I'm going to be having children, inshallah. The future is going to be coming, inshallah. Allah knows about it. And on this day is the same day that everything I've done is within the displeasure of Allah. That embarrassment of the thought should be enough for me to be able to hold back and say, hang on, I can do anything but not today. Even if I'm a weak Muslim. Did you get my point? I might be weak. I'll do anything, not today. By right, we're not supposed to be doing anything anyway, any day. It's always supposed to be within the pleasure of Allah. But I'm talking of, if you have a weakness, try and cut it on that day. The problem with weddings is, even those who don't generally have weaknesses, they tend to think this is the, you know, when you're on a diet, what do you call the one day? The cheat day, right? They tend to think, okay, this is the cheat day, you can do as you want. That's wrong. So we sowed the wrong seed. So I received a message, it was okay. But then they had a photograph of people, one example and another example, an example of someone who wasn't a Muslim, and there was a picture of perhaps a wedding scene, and another example of people who were Muslim, and there was a picture of a wedding scene, and they were trying to show you, look how bad the Muslims have become, and look at how, and yet these are known people in society. For me, that is such a big backbiting issue that all your reward has gone to those people. They probably will come out of whatever they were doing more clean than any one of us who've been forwarding those messages about them, trying to give an example. Yet the fact that we mentioned names and had pictures is what rendered it a crime in the eyes of Allah. It became backbiting, belittling someone. For what? Probably the people who are forwarding messages might have in their private lives greater sins than that. So if you want to correct someone, go back to ma balu aqwam. Go back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he generalized it. He said, look, my brothers, my sisters, there are people, perhaps we need to do this. We need to make sure that we have a link with Allah. We need to make sure that we don't do the wrong thing, etc. So when a person is divorced, one of the greatest acts of worship is to watch the mouth, to hold yourself back from saying that which is evil. Don't be evil. Secondly, if you have children, one of the biggest acts of worship from you that will get you, inshallah, into Jannah is if you can put a lid on your ego and allow access to the father or mother of the child. It's not a joke. Not many people, even religious, who read 10 salah a day, when it comes to a matter of this nature, they say, no, I know what I'm doing. What happened? What happened to all your salah? When I say 10, by the way, we're talking of the farad as well as the sunnah and the nafil and everything else. But this is the thing Allah's testing you with. There was a divorce that happened. How dare you decide that that's it, the children are mine and not yours? Allah gave them to you as a test. Come on. You have to change. You have to put a lid on your ego. The world is struggling and suffering. You cannot allow that to happen to you. You might be diagnosed with the biggest disease tomorrow morning or tonight. And then what are you going to do? May Allah grant cure to all of us who are struggling in one way or another with our health. Say Ameen.